All right, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. I hope everything is well with you. And today I'm going to talk briefly about the Department of Veterans Affairs. And the VA has been in the news quite a bit lately. And I think a lot of people, even some people uh, who served, who served in the military, have a little bit of a misunderstanding of the VA, and I know a lot of civilians do. So I'm not going to spend all day on this topic. There's a lot of videos out there about the VA, how to get disability, how to apply. Uh, in my here in Bangkok, in my post, I am the service officer. I'm the benefits advisor. So I do know a little bit about this topic, but I'm going to come at it from a different angle today. Now, first off, a little bit of a brief history. The Department of Veterans Affairs, a federal agency, basically provides comprehensive benefits to military veterans, their families, and the surviving spouses and children. Basically, the VA really officially was established on July 21st, 1930. Herbert Hoover, if you want to go deeper into the history, a lot of people don't know this. It was President Herbert Hoover who signed Executive Order 5398 consolidating the Veterans Bureau, the Bureau of Pensions, and the National Home for Disabled Volunteer Soldiers into a single agency known as the Veterans Administration. Now, it wasn't until though on March 15th, 1989, the agency was officially elevated to a cabinet level department, becoming the Department of Veterans Affairs. So, and that was under Bush one, and President Herbert Hoover actually officially created it. And obviously, it was created. The VA was created back in 1930 for federal support for veterans, and so there's a brief history on the creation of the VA. Can I go into detail more? Sure, but I don't. I don't have time to get into that. We're not going to get into a couple hour discussion on that today. So there's the brief history, and if you look here on the video down below, I put a quote from Abraham Lincoln about the promise to take care of veterans. You'll see that. Now, the next point. The Washington Post a few months ago, several months back, written articles about people scamming the system. I got news for you. Every federal government department has waste. Yes, do some veterans probably slip through the cracks? Yes, but the Department of Veterans Affairs is extremely important. This is what I want to get through to you today. Number one, you have to remember, as active duty service members, we cannot sue the federal government. And I'm retired now, so let me rephrase that. As a former active duty service member, if you're active duty today or in the past, or you were in the past, you cannot sue the federal government. Okay, can't sue them. So what if they medically misdiagnose you? Can't can't sue them. Now maybe there's exceptions to the rule. Some of you can comment, but technically, even if you try to sue, it's very, very hard to do. So if they misdiagnose you, I had my knees, quite frankly, were misdiagnosed when I was active duty in the Navy. They said, "Oh, I had a bad limp," and I was constantly limping on and off for like 10 years. Oh, it's nothing. You just pulled something. Then when I went and got an MRI, at the back end of my career, your MCLs are gone. The meniscus is messed up. Everything. But for about 10 years, they kept giving me Motrin. And again, I'm not complaining. These people are human. Stuff happens. The point I'm trying to make is this. The purpose of veterans compensation is to the VA is the advocate. Since active duty service members can't sue the federal government, the VA makes up for that. So when people, whether you get hurt moving a crate, mess up your back, or something happened to you in combat, or maybe, or maybe you were cooking and for the 182nd Airborne Division, and there was an attack, and you slipped and fell. The purpose is this for both combat and non-combatants. I heard a guy on YouTube say this perfectly. When it comes down to it, there's two kinds of rates in the military: the support, and the supported. So that's what it comes down to. And if you get hurt or something happens to you while you're on active duty, guess what? The VA, since you can't technically sue the federal government, the VA makes up for that. The VA is the advocate for the service member, the active or the former active duty service member. You can't collect VA benefits technically till you get discharged. I've heard people collecting VA benefits in the reserves. Technically, if you're more than 30%, you're not supposed to be collecting them. I've heard different stories, whatever. Things slip through the cracks all the time. But I hear a lot of talk from people that, oh, the VA is this, the VA is that. You have to understand the purpose of the VA and why it was created. Yeah, have people slipped through the cracks and are probably scamming the system? Yes, but if you look at the U.S. population, how many in a country of maybe 350 million people, 340, depending on the census, I don't know, what percentage of that is veterans? Not high. And while I'm talking to you, matter of fact, let me see if I can Google that. Percentage is military veterans. See, it's the purpose of going live, folks. Now the percentage is 6%. Okay? 6%. 6%. The percentage is 6%. So if you're thinking a country of 340, 350 million people, 6%. Now, out of that 6%, not everyone does 20 years. Not everyone retires. And not everyone is collecting VA disability. So while the civilian taxpayer, I understand, is frustrated, and the articles from the Washington Post, but the fact of the matter is this: 6%, only 6%, and that includes active duty, people that are currently retired, or people who maybe have gotten out after their first tour, or maybe they've done a tour or two. So if you want to blast VA benefits, it's your right to do that. But keep in mind, in totality, and this is the problem with people, okay? It's like talking politics with people. They think they know the answer. They never look at the big picture. They never read the bills. They think they know the answers. You don't. The big picture is this: 6% of the country is veterans, have served, or are currently serving. Now, can I delve deeper into those numbers? Sure. But the bottom line is this: is a VA a perfect system? No, but it comes down to this: since active duty folks, especially, and people that are retired or ex-service members, you can't sue the federal government. So the VA is the sort of the advocate to step in to compensate you, since you can't, if you served or got hurt while on active duty, and it's the sort of like an advocate. And the last point I want to make is the VA doesn't make it easy to collect, unlike what some say. You have to go through hoops. And trust me, I've probably done help assisted with more claims than most people have out there. I've been a service officer or benefits advisor for almost 10 years. So I know how the system works. So it's funny when civilians or people who don't know the system try to challenge me on it. You don't know. I'm currently in process of trying to get my my VA accreditation. I'm waiting on one class, but neither here or there. That's what the VA is. It's an advocate, sort of an advocate. Someone may disagree on my analysis, but that's why the VA and Department of Defense are two different departments. And I hope this helps you. Uh, it's not the most eloquent answer, but I just like to get straight to the point. And I hope this helps. I'm not as fancy as others out there on YouTube. I just get to the point and say it. And I hope you all have a good day, good night, wherever you're at. And please like, subscribe, share, and bang the notification bell. And in the future, if you'd like, I can go into more detail on this. I'm sure some of you out there are going to say, well, no, it's just not. No, I'm just giving you a quick breakdown. Very quick and to the point. And yeah, can I go deeper? Sure. But anyways, have a great day. Have a great night. Have a great afternoon, great morning, wherever you're at in the world. Take care. God bless.